Friday night finale. Let's see what we can do. Really, what can any of us do? But I'm going to go and say the pledge, and then I'm going to do the music, and then I'm going to come back, talk to the kids, and then get into the show. Last night I had a good talk with Mary Ann, and until her machine went dead and kind of worried me. Hi, Janet. Hi, Gary. Hi, Bill. Hi, Margaret. You guys must have all been waiting patiently. I'm going good, Margaret. Thanks for asking. Jeffrey, good to see you. But let's get this stuff going and so we can get this show on the road. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So,
if tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again, just my children and my wife. Thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. But I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
I looked around in my bedroom and said, I don't know the else about it. I need to get some crackers and stuff, some chips and stuff to leave in there. I've been doing
from the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA. There's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say,
if the hitters on base, not the only one, but on base percentage against us this year, it's 211 7th in the league. And was it 211 times 12? He's balls and that's hitting 2 balls, so you have a good feeling. He's in that.
And I'm proud to be an American.
27 pitches.
And I won't forget the men who died.
But the people who killed him and signed that it's the first ball. It was their first baseman. And it was Robert. He said they never hit the pitcher.
And defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
A little bit different version of what we usually get, but still a great song. I love the USA. God bless America. Man, I tell you, a man should get award after award for what he's done for the country and that. Since I'm going to go into the kids section, I'm going to start off with a little monkey. I picked her up from school today, and she was just in one of her moods, boy, I tell you. She was just bouncing off of everything, and I said, guess what? And this is a little 4-year-old. I said, guess what? And you already bought lunch, and we're going to Uncle Ron's and eating. I said, how did you know? She says, because we haven't went to Uncle Ron's for a long time, and it's time that we do. And I said, well, I've already bought lunch and we're going to Uncle Ron's to eat. And she was here. And I mean, talk. She just never shut up. Just going and going. But you know what? I'd much rather have a kid like that than one that wants to be on a tablet. And don't get me wrong, she gets her little tablet time, especially when I watch her because, see, there's not a whole lot to do at my daughter's. So I let her have her tablet so I can have the TV. And only thing was unfortunate with me today on my daughter's TV, I couldn't find the Masters. I haven't had a chance to talk around. I don't know how the Masters go.
I couldn't find them either.
The only thing I know about the Masters so far, and oh my goodness, was they going nuts on the talk radio sports show about this. Yesterday, not even a guy that's actually playing, if he won the Masters, he would get anything. He's a, what do they call them? The guys that you get to play, the amateur. He's an amateur, and he was playing in the Masters, and his playing partner, one of them, was having trouble on the green. I mean, they was getting a ruling, and they was doing this, and they was doing that, and just taking forever. And being an amateur, and hey, believe me, being an amateur golfer, I understand his feelings. He had to go pee really, really bad. And there was a little creek that you went way down into. No one could see you. And he decided to go down there and relieve himself. Now, that is enough to get you thrown out of the Masters. But this man decided to tell the people that's what he did. I did not hear if they kicked him out. They said that there's actually rules and regulations in there that not only could they kick him out, they could actually fine him. They said, you know, if you do this on any other tour event, they probably wouldn't. Hey, the kid had to go. He had to go. But on this particular place, the Masters is like where God descends upon golf. It's the most taunted event, you know. And when my daughter, when I was getting ready to leave their house tonight, she looked at me and she says, what are you doing this weekend? And I looked and I go, I don't know. Yeah, I'm watching the Masters Saturday and Sunday. Because over the course of the next 2 days, they're going to televise 12 hours of the Masters. So, but anyway, I'm going to go back to the little monkey because I tell you, she entertained Ron while she was here, but she wasn't eating. And this is a little girl that when you give her cheeseburger,
but it didn't have pickle.
But it didn't have pickles, and the pickles I had here in the house, she didn't like. They were too dill. She ate about half of her burger and all but one of her chicken nuggets. Didn't touch her French fries. She says, I'm full. We weren't hardly leaving Ron's house and she was sleeping just like that. When we got home, I let her play for a little bit. And then I made her try to lay down again because I kind of thought she was starting off with maybe coming down with something. And I really, really wanted to give her some medicine, but she's my granddaughter, not my daughter. And I couldn't get a hold of my daughter, couldn't get a hold of my son-in-law. So I waited for them to come home, and then they give her a little taste of some medicine. And hopefully she's going to be okay. Super gymnast. I tell you, she amazes me because she comes home and first thing she does is she walks in the kitchen, through the kitchen, into the living room where I'm usually sitting on the sofa. And she gives me a big hug and tells me she loves me. And Liam, Patriot7, he's into baseball right now. And he just don't understand why Papa don't want to go out and play catch with him every night. It's not that Papa don't want to go out and play catch. It's that Papa can't handle the cold weather. Small Hank, I just was down at the house and his mom's not home and his dad's upstairs working on redoing the bedroom that was his dad's bedroom when he grew up in the house. And he's really redoing it very nice and just wanting to get it done. I think he lost track of time because he isn't making no supper yet. His mom and Patriot little Kira's not home. He goes, boy, I really wish we had some crackers or something. So I had some Ritz crackers. I give him some. And, to show you how he was, by giving him, I think, 8 Ritz crackers, it was like I give him $1 million or a whole bag of candy. He was hungry. So I also had a couple little bitty 2 for $1 bags of potato chips. I hide them in my room so if the kids need them. And sometimes if I need them. But I hide them in my room because if I put them out, then they'll eat them until they're gone. And, I keep them for more or less, I'll say, a rainy day like today. Even though it's not raining, you understand what I mean. So I took care of him and made sure he was okay before he left. And when I get done, I'll probably check down there to see if my son has went downstairs. Because if he hasn't, I'm gonna make some supper here and take down to him, because little boy eats lunch at 11 o'clock in the morning. At 7 o'clock at night, he's hungry. Patriot Super Jimmy and Patriot 7, Patriot Karate Kid, Patriot Wyatt Earp, Brave, Courageous, and Bold. I like that show. Every now and I catch it on TV. Patriot Princess, our queen, little Haley, and Patriot Hunter, her brother. Patriot Boogie, Boogaloo, and Boogaroo, John's grandchildren. Patriot Little Leona. And Little Elan. And I tell you last night I got a message from great grandpa Mike. And Mike, I'm not gonna bust your chops, but let me put it this way: the message I got was not intended for me, but boy, did I have some fun with him after it, and I'll continue to do it. But sometimes people make mistakes, and I can have fun with it. I just can't share with people, and that's how it is. But I was talking tonight because I babysat late today, and Ron says, why are you doing that? Well, let me explain why. Last night, my daughter looks at me and says, hey, tomorrow night, I'm bringing Liam straight home. I got to pick up the new little puppy, little Hunter. I got to pick him up and take him in. He's got to get a shot in something else at 4 o'clock. I said, well, okay, where the vet is, where you're going, you get him in at 4, he's going to get a shot, he's going to get something else. You'll be home easily by 5, which gives me plenty of time to get home, prepare for the show, and do what I need to do. And she said, oh, yeah. She says, well, do you want the kids to go with me, or do you want the kids to stay here? You can pick Ella up at the bus stop, and you'll have the three kids, and I'll just take the little puppy. And here behind her mother is Ella, Patriot Super Gymnast. Papa, 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 please, please, please. And she just kept going and going. And the longer she kept going, the more I'm going, well, I don't know. I knew right away. As soon as I seen, how do you look at your granddaughter when she's begging you to stay and watch her? See, because being in, junior high now, or whatever middle school, I guess they call it, I don't get to spend a lot of time with her. But when we do spend time, it's like people, she understands what it is to be loved by her grandpa or her papa. So I stayed, and We sat on a couch and she never moved. She snuggled up to me. She had her tablet and she's in this contest where she gets figurines and you decorate them like a McDonald's worker, a Pizza Hut worker, something like that. Different things. And whoever many people's in the contest, what place you finish, you are allowed points. And she's trying to get to 7,000 points because she gets better clothing so she can do better jobs. So in a contest like she was in tonight, she would have better clothing than some of the people that was there. So she can do a better job. And more or less it's teaching a kid how to fashion design at 11 years old. And that kind of being on the tablet, I don't mind, because that is actually preparing her possibly for a future. And I says, well, do you like fashion design? She says, well, yeah, I really love doing this. I love working, putting together designs of clothes. And she said, someday I wouldn't mind starting my own line of clothing. Wow. 11 years old. When I was 11 years old, all I wanted to do was play baseball, play hide and seek, and see if the girl I liked would let me hold her hand. So, but it is what it is. And where was y'all planning to there, Gary? Did you go on a trip with Elon Musk? It's funny I said that because then all of a sudden someone puts up Elon Musk 2029. Won't that be 2028? But it is what it is. I'm still laughing from the gentleman that asked me the other night about, was it easier to take a shower? Because I'm bald-headed. I thought I'd heard all of them. I had never heard that one. But that kind of concludes the kids tonight, guys. And I said them. I talked because I said that's John's grandkids. You was probably trying to get on a show. So anyway, we love you kids. I hope each and every one of you have a good weekend. And look at it. Guys, I can actually say, I don't know how long it's going to last, but they're actually running a sale. Still a little over $3 a dozen for eggs. But I think the kids are going to be parents are going to be able to get some eggs and color them. And all kids love to color Easter eggs. I know a week from today, my sister is having her Good Friday, Easter party at her house. She has the kids come over and they decorate eggs and they do a lot of things. Play a lot of games. The moms come over and drink mimosas or whatever. Most moms leave pretty much, do you want me to drive you home? You know what I mean? But it's her final one. She lost her husband, my brother-in-law. And this is her final one. But as I was talking to one of the girls about it, she said it's so sad that this is her final one. But in my sister's thing, she said, all things have to come to an end. And see, I don't believe you talk like that. Why? You do something you like to do. You got 2 daughters, 6, 7, 8, 9 nieces. Guys, when I talk about this Easter egg thing, and they go out and they have an Easter egg hunt, but it's not one of these that kids push kids down to try to get this. I mean, we used to have Easter egg hunts over at another place, and every year the same little girl got the golden egg. Every year she got it, because the golden egg had a $10 bill in it. But every year she got it. And I'm not saying it's wrong, but it seemed funny to me that every year this little girl got the egg, that her grandpa was the guy that hid the egg. And he was also the one that was taking her around looking for the eggs when she was young. But it's all in fun. To me, And I mean, I'll talk to my sister and I'll even tell her, you know what? If you need more help, I'll come over and volunteer and help. You know, one of the reasons it's good to have it at my sister's house is because, as all family members in our family, we have dogs. Well, my dog's a pretty good sized dog, so, you know, if he has to go out and do his little deed, it's not a little deed, it's pretty good size. Her little dog, his deed is about that big. You know, so she always takes her little thing with her when he goes out and he poops in the yard. She flips it right up, puts it in a little bag, and throws it away. So at least we don't have to worry about the kids starting to run and fall down and falling in a whole pile. You know. Now, I've got my grandson, Patriot Small Hank. I got him all fickle because my son, since I have the dog, my son decided he's going to go out and get me a pooper scooper. I said, okay, what's that for? And he goes, because when I mow the grass, I don't want to run over that. I said, well, heck, I'll push mow the grass and I don't care if I run over it. So I looked at my grandson, Patriot Small Hank, and I said, hey, I'll make you a deal. I'll give you $1 a week. $1 a week, and I'll buy you any candy bar you want. Every week. If you go out and you pick it up. If you don't get it picked up and your dad yells, it's your fault. And last summer, he did a really good job on it. It's all what it is, you know, but I'm hoping that my sister, this is the third time she said this is her last one.
Yeah, when she gets on that miracle bed.
But as Ron says, if she gets on the magic beds, well, he said miracle. I don't know where he got that name, but, you know, we've been calling it magic for, maybe he's calling it miracle bed because he's hoping that the hat finally pulls a miracle out of his hat and gets them for us. But, you know, I'm kind of glad he said that. I'm kind of glad he said that because I wanted to talk about the beds. I mean, you know, I read the other night where if you want to do something with the beds, you know, what you're going to need, how big they're going to have to be. And, you know, when I read that, I thought, okay, you know, no big deal. And I went back and read it afterwards again, and I'm thinking, you know, I think I'm just going to wait until we go to the redemption centers. I have the money. I can contact the right people that I need to contact, and I can do that and find out, because the person who put that article out wasn't one of your more or less well-known people. There was a person that, you know, I don't know about you guys, but if you're noticing, and I noticed it the other day through Margaret, who's on here on the screen right now. But Margaret told me that she's learned that some of the people doing the shows like this have been told to quit doing shows. And if the ones I'm hoping were told, I'm glad. And I'll go into that in a minute. But now all of a sudden these people they're showing up like cockroaches. You know, they're everywhere. You know, they know everything. And it just seems funny to me that people who's been doing this, been involved in this, and been, you know, really doing what they need to do for 10, 15, 18, 20 years, now all of a sudden someone that you don't even know nothing about is coming out and they're trying to change everybody's opinion about anything. Now, everybody has the right to listen to whoever they want to listen to. Everybody has the right to do what they want to do. But all I ask you is everything most of us, there's some new people coming on, but everything most of us here has went through, don't lose your vibrations. You're going to want to make sure you keep your inbox in your email very clean. I'm going in usually about every hour or every other hour and checking. I don't want to miss this 800 number. Once I get this 800 number, I'll spread it everywhere. I will probably come on and do a quick live broadcast with the number so I can get it out to people. I mean, that's pretty much all it's going to be, is just to give the number out. Don't know how and what I'm actually going to be able to say. Nobody does. So I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke up people's rear ends about what's going on, how it's going on, and what we're doing, because, we literally don't know. But the one thing I want to emphasize tonight before I really get into the show, the one thing I want to emphasize is just don't lose where we've got you to. Because that's going to be your main thing. When you go to the Redemption Center, that's going to be one of the main things that they check. They're going to check your vibrations to make sure you're deserving. But here's something that I brought up to some people here a few days ago. And when they said they're going to check your vibrations, they're going to do this, they're going to do that, I made the statement, well, that's really not fair. Because David Duffy's here. Now, David, we all know, is a very nice man, generally. He's been with us a long, long time. I agree there. We can't take it anymore. But unfortunately, we have to. But if David goes into the Redemption Center, or myself, and you guys see me, I'm loose as a goose. But if I go into the Redemption Center, and from the time I get out of my car, I walk across the parking lot to the door to go in, now I'm all by myself. It's me against who's ever in that Redemption Center. And I'm going to take deep breaths. I'm going to have a mint that I take just before, and I finish it before I get out of my car. Because if you notice, when you get worried, when you get scared and things like that, sometimes your breath will start smelling a little bit. I'm going to do the best I can to keep calm. Even though my insides is going to be rolling, like when you jiggle jelly, you know what I mean? And Jello. And I'm going to try to stay as calm as I can. But that walk is going to be something that it's going to get you. But you still have to do everything you can to stay cool, calm, and collective. But if you get, like I'm talking with David here, if you get a little bit hyper, a little bit strung out, a little bit, and they check your vibrations then, is it fair to us? See, to me, the way you check someone's vibrations is I walk into there. I give a firm handshake. I don't give one of these willy-nilly handshakes. I don't give one of these, I'm going to try to break your handshakes. I give a nice, firm handshake. If it's a lady, meet me at the door also. I might say, I prefer to a hug instead of handshake a lady. If that's okay. If she said I'd rather handshake than I hand. But see, this is going to get me to talk, to get something out of me, and to calm me down. But when I walk in and I sit down, I'm going to introduce myself, and I'm going to tell them right up front what I'm looking for, what I'm expecting, and what I'm hoping for. Let me talk. Let David talk. You know, they say, I've heard that you're going to get about 15 minutes total. They want your presentations done in X amount of time. And you're going to get about 15 minutes to do all of this stuff. So when I have my currency, and I have everything, every different currency in a different container. Every one. And when I hand them, I'm also going to have a page with me stating what I'm handing them. Because I've added a little bit more here and there, so I got to go back and redo my page this weekend. But I'm going to hand them that. And when I do, I'm going to ask them, would you do me a favor? Would you please initial this, each and every one of you? And then I will initial it afterwards. Or sign your name, not initial it, sign your name. If there's two people in the Redemption Center with me, then both people sign it, I sign it, we date it. You know? Now, we do this, I get that copy. They have another copy. The other person has a copy to look at. They go, they put them in the machine. You have this amount. You have this amount. And if everything's checking out, and if there's something off, like let's say I have $401 million Bolivar. But when it comes up, it only comes up 398. I am not going to sit there and argue with these people over two like that. Okay, you see what I mean? But I'm going to take control of my meeting. And David, I'm going to suggest you do it. And everyone, you take control of your meeting. This is your life. This is your money. This is what we've been waiting for years and years and years. Don't go in there and, my name is Ralph Anderson, I think. Just go in there and be you. And I know it's easy for me to say now, and I know I'm going to be as nervous as everybody else. But it doesn't matter how nervous you are. You got to go in there and take control of your life right then and there. We don't know what to expect, but that's one of the things. Now, I was mentioning a little bit ago, about new people showing up. Well, today, on a couple occasions, there's this real ugly man. Looks like a cartoon character picture. Dark hair, mustache, beard, sideburns, going all the way up. His name is Barra, B-A-R-A, all in capital letters. Down in the mic, it says, JR. is in Mike Barra chat. Okay. So this B-A-R-A, he's been coming out with stuff. I'd never heard of him until a little while back. And hey, if you guys have, and I missed it, I missed it. But this is what he said. And I want you guys to all listen because I'm going to ask you some questions. Forwarded from Fred K-O-C-H, Koch. TNT is being told that banks and three-letter agencies are saying tonight bank screens are expected to be populated with rates tonight. All exchange employees are expecting 12-hour shifts through the weekend. Tony intimated that the exchanges would take place over 90-day tariff uranium or whatever it is in order to take care of the estimated 15 million currency holders. He said nervousness over treasury bonds being dumped is what caused the latest delay? Well, first of all, the latest delay, they have more excuses than Carter has liver pills. Now, some of you guys might not understand that saying, but when we were kids, there was a pharmacy, it was Carter's, and for some reason they had liver pills. That was one of my mom's favorite sayings. But what I just read to you there, when I came here to Ron's tonight from babysitting, he said, Diane just sent this. Diane with 2 N's. And he's telling me about it as I pulled it up because she sent it to me too. And I'm reading it. And Ron's thinking that the revaluation isn't going to start for 90 days. But they're saying that starting tomorrow, the workers are going to be in the redemption centers for 12 hours. If we're not starting tomorrow, why are these banks paying all this money to these people to go in there and set for nothing? Now it says, and see, this is something I really want to emphasize. It says over a 90-day, because when the hat did his Liberation Day speech, and we all know it was all about tariffs. But I seen a video the other night that people from countries, they're having them contact people who work for the hat. And they showed the people on TV, and they're telling them that they just can't get any time off. So many people contact him. We need a deal. We need a deal. We need a deal. Now, if you look around, all you're going to see is 25 or 30 countries, maybe 50 countries have contacted him. From what I'm understanding, from what I'm hearing, it's pretty much every country in the world. And I did see Eric Trump, I think his last name is, or Dump, you know what I'm talking about. I did see him make the statement that here's the deal. He says, the first people who come and want to negotiate are going to get the better deals. So if you really want a great deal, you better get in there right away. Now, he was using a ploy because, see, the ploy is if they all come in the same time, you see what I mean? Instead of taking 90 days, we could cut it down to maybe 9 days. And I thought it was a great tactic. I thought it was a great tactic by Eric. But it's one that, if you go into TikTok or you go into other places, they're going to crucify you if you think he's doing a good job, our hat. And here's something, and that I put in your head. Tell me, you can tell me in comments if I can see him, I see him, if I don't. But here's something that I don't understand. You have 2 men, the hat and Elon, working feverishly to make America great again. Both of them, multi-billionaires. Both of them not taking any money for what they're doing. And they are getting ripped apart in social media from people saying they're communist, they're Nazis. They are being called everything. Everything. But the other night I seen a video, and it really was a good video for me to see. Because see, in this video they said, why would 2 multi-billionaires who's making nothing for doing this, all they're doing is trying to make America great again and saving us, the United States citizens, and even so far you can say the world, money. Why would you be against him and call him against them and call them names? But yet, people who, and we're going to start with The one guy that's married to the one guy. You should know who I mean. When he become the same position as the hat, he had $1.5 million. He was worth $1.5 million. Today, only making $400,000 a year for them 8 years that he was what he was. So 400,000 times 8 is 3.2 million. So that would make him worth 4.7 million. He's worth 135 million. And that's just what they know he's got. That has nothing to do with offshore accounts that they haven't found yet. And they will find them because Elon Musk is great at finding things. It's great at finding things. So think about it. Why would two men who are multi-billionaires be doing that? Why would people be against them? But then you turn the sheets and the people, and that part for 4 years, they should get an Academy Award. They really should. Especially if they turn the pages, because that's what that one idiot that was running with that other idiot for the job that they had ended up getting. You remember, his wife wanted us to just turn the pages. What a bunch of clowns. I mean, I would laugh at these people more than when I was a kid that I would laugh at Bozo the Clown and Oliver Oliver. Yes, none of you bizwags. He is exposing the baddies. So, this comes from Carolyn Levitt. President's message has been simple and consistent from the beginning. To countries around the world, bring us your best offers, and President the Hat will listen. Deals will only be made if they benefit American workers and address our nation's crippling trade deficits. America does not need other countries as much as other countries need us. And guys, I was talking to a friend of mine in Walmart the other day, and I could not get him to understand. This is before I read this. And I said, Tommy, the other countries need us a lot more than we need them. He said, we need them for oil. Do you ever listen to the Hat speak? The Hat tells you we have more liquid gold under our feet than any country in the world. And dig, baby, dig. He goes, oh, you're right. It's amazing. This is a guy that was a friend of mine in school. But see, I was always the one that didn't care in school, so no one ever thought I had anything inside my head. President the Hat knows this. He's going to use the leverage of our market and our country to the advantage of the people he represents. On the other hand, countries like China, who retaliate and try to double down on their mistreatment of America, are making a gigantic mistake. President the Hat has a spine of steel. America will not bend, and we will not break under his leadership. President the Hat is guided by a firm belief that America must be able to produce essential goods for our own people and export them to the rest of the world. This comes from Caroline Levitt. And guys, if you haven't listened to her, you got to. This woman, I used to love his last press secretary. I wanted him to bring her back. But I'm telling you what, of all the presidents that anybody's ever had a press secretary, this one is without a doubt, no hands down, the most fabulous one. She doesn't take any crap. They try to give it to her, and she just hands it to them in a handbag. Hedges is down in Panama and has a huge announcements. will be signing a joint declaration with the Minister of Canal Affairs on the security and operations of the Panama Canal, which is the framework for the U.S. warships and auxiliary ships to sail first and free through the Panama Canal. This also came from Caroline Leavitt. Inflation is down, jobs are up, and the golden age of America is underway. President the Hat continues to undo the damage done by Sleepy and core inflation declined for the second month in a row. Great news for American families and businesses. President the Hat aggressive economic agenda is already dropping prices across the board, from the prescriptions, drugs, to car insurance. Every day, the Hat's administration is cutting regulations and taking actions to deliver on the president's commitment to quickly lower cost for all Americans. Another Caroline Leavitt. Yeah, I like her, but she has good info. Here's intel only from Bruce last night. Bruce said the outset he'd find out why we didn't go today. And the reason Bruce said it didn't go yesterday was because it just didn't happen. Wow. We waited and listened to Babbling Bob and Run Around Sue for an hour and 20 minutes so Bruce could make the announcement that it just didn't happen. I was so impressed. I tell you, I was so impressed I had to run to the bathroom. I thought I was going to pee my pants just because of the excitement. Yes, I'm being cynical. Especially today, two things. Elon sent up 40 satellites in the last week, and a couple of them needed to be synchronized. The other reason is that your guys, remember, Jerome Powell needed to get relieved of duty, and he insisted, the Hat made sure by getting in touch with the court, and apparently okay, now at 9 p.m., and the Fed is dead, the remnant of Fed and the IRS is now in a new U.S. Treasury. No other things happening. First, some of you with 401ks saw a major hit at the beginning of the week, but it came back yesterday of almost 10% in one day. Basically, the news was a number of countries wanted to make a fair trade deal with DJT, 75 countries with no tariffs and just free and fair trade with the Hat. Is succeeding in putting this deal together where he is at his best. Now, he did say it would be a little bit tough, but the market went up, and after all those countries said they wanted to make a deal. So in essence, what Bruce is saying, that when we had Liberation Day, the Hat has pretty much got his way. And guys, I have mocked him. I have said things about him, about certain things. Mainly, I think he's having too much fun. Mainly about how many times have we been told that, how many times have we been told that if he's playing chess with 10 of the smartest people in the world, he's 10 moves ahead of everyone. And I will be the first one to admit, I've taken some shots at him. But you're starting to see everything that was said come out. He is putting everything right where we want it. Can you imagine working out a deal with Iraq that we pay no tariff, that they may not pay no tariffs or a small tariff bringing the oil in, but anything we do with them, we might not pay anything? Because when they say they want a fair and even, as I said, we can go in and we can purchase things from all over the world. And we purchase a lot more things from all over the world. But wouldn't it be better to bring the world to us and these buildings that are empty because our economy was down so much, putting these businesses in our country where they're still going to make their money. The countries are going to, if it's someone from China, if it's someone from Canada, see, we are setting in a world, in a country that is about ready to, pardon the expression, they're about ready to kick ass and take no prisoners. So let's see what Judy Bidington has to say. If I can get it out. Before I go into that's the play one. This one. I was going to say something before I go into this, but this is from Judy, compiled today, April 11, 2025. The Cabal Plan, control every man, woman, and child on earth. Q's plan, make sure that doesn't happen. Make sure every man, woman, child on earth has happiness, love, and peace. The last part I made up. God's plan, your eternal happiness. Friday, 11 April is a very big day. Mr. Poole on Telegram. Here's a prayer that you can read if you want to go in there. I can't read that. Ooh. We might not be reading much of Judy. A lot of what she's got, guys, I'm not going to get thrown off the show. Thursday, 12 April, 2025, red alert. The Hats Military Alliance launches final strike against the Deep State, retakes Panama Canal, takes down global drug empire. Also, on the 10th, the Hat/Musk Doge audit finds millions going out in monthly unemployment checks. Babies, time travelers, and 115-year-olds are exploiting the system. Or could it be the federal employees and Congress members committing fraud? I'll go with the second. Thursday, 10 April 2025, the Hats Alliance launches military-grade takedown of global drug empire. A $509 million strike was seized. Your government is a lie. JFK was, by the CIA with the help from the Pentagon. I'm not going to go into that. Thursday, 10 April 2025, Chinese-owned U.S. farmland and has been an issue for years, says the Hat, while FBI Director Kash Patel slated the FBI will be working every single day to root out the corrupt CCP influence in America, including with our farmland and food supply. A lot of the stuff that's in here, with Bruce and everything else I've already covered. And since we're already 55 minutes into the show, I'm going to finish with just a couple words of advice. And when I say this, I mean it from my heart, is be very, very careful. There was a video that I was sent today by Ron. And this little lady, she answered the phone and she said, "Fraud? You're going to help me? Fraud? Yes, I want my bank account to be set right. Oh, all you need to do it is my password and my social security number. Well, here's my password." And I can't say what she says because it's really funny, but the way she says it. But that's what you have to do, guys. If someone calls and asks you for a password, if someone calls, and I've got 2 of these in the last week where people are wanting to be friends with me all of a sudden on Facebook. They want to be my friend. Oh, I'm so happy. But the trouble is, they're already my friends. One of them was a lady. She's a lady now. But when I first got to know her, is when I was like 6 or 7 years old. She was either 4 or 5. She was the niece of my brother-in-law who passed away last year. Her mom, his sister, was going through some rough times. My brother-in-law wasn't even married to my sister yet. But my mom was such a tremendous woman. She not only took this little girl in to help that lady, but she also took her little brother. And they lived with us for about 4 years. So see, this little girl was raised as almost a sister to me. And we've been friends on Facebook ever since. She was one of the first people that ever contacted me when I got a Facebook account. She was either one of my top 2, 3, 4, 5 friends that I got. But now all of a sudden she wanted to be my friend again. And somehow, in this new account that she wanted, that I didn't approve, she starts chatting with me. And she's talking to me about this company. And I posted it. I don't have the name of it in front of me. I should. But if you need to know it, please get in touch with me. I'll let you know. But this company, they're giving away money. And she got $150,000. This is a hillbilly girl, guys. This is a little girl that when she was 13 or 12, she moved back to North Carolina. And she's lived there ever since. She's a tremendous little girl. Young woman, 2 years younger than me. But the point is, she kept pushing me to contact this place. So out of respect for her, I did. And it's, well, you can be approved. I can get $100,000. I can get $150,000. I can get $200,000. I can get all the way up to $1 million. The difference is if I get $100,000, I got to pay $1,000 up front. And then they'll deliver within 7 hours $100,000 cash. It's not traceable. It's nothing. I get $150,000 for $1,500, $200,000, and I'm thinking, wow. So I'm going to contact my friend, Sharon, and I'm going to say, Sharon, how about you give me $2,500? I'll get $250,000. You got $150,000. You give me $2,500, and I'll give you $50,000 back for it. It's still going to get me $200,000. And it's going to give her $175,000. She said, Ralph, I would, but I don't have anything left. I can maybe give you $500. I can send them $500. I said, no, send it to me. Because I can maybe come up with $500 and at least get the $100,000. She said, no, I'd have to send it to them. Which is just more proof. It's a scam. I said, I don't think I'm interested. Went back to the guy and I told him, I said, no, I can't come up with any money. The most I can come up with is $500. Well, if you can send us that $500, If you can send us the 500, we'll just take the 500 from you when the money's delivered. But I got to send the 500. I said, hold on a minute. So I get back on the phone on the chat with Sharon. And I said, Sharon, can you send that 500 for me? And she said, why? Now, this was a matter of about 2 minutes that I talked to her. She said, why? And I said, because I can get $100,000, but I got to come up with 500. So if you can send that 500, they'll allow me to pay the other 500 when you get there. She said, I don't have it anymore. Can you see SCAM written all over that, guys? Because that's what it is. 2 days later, after I've pretty much put this in the rearview mirror, a guy by the name of Larry Ringy contacts me. He's talking to me and talking to me and talking to me. Now, Larry Ringy, I worked with at the factory for almost 30 years. He was a foreman up there for the last 15. But he's always been a friend. He was one of these guys that on Friday night, he went to Jensen's Tavern with us to have a beer. He was always at the picnics. He was always involved with us. I was very good friends with him. And after we talked for half an hour, he said, Ralph, have you ever heard of this company? I said, here we go again. So I went to my Facebook account and I clicked on Larry Ringy. And gee, this was a new account somehow he had got set up with me. Because see, the Larry Ringy I knew, I started chatting with, and I had not chatted with him. The last thing I had corresponded with him on Facebook, the last thing was on February 4th, he sent me a happy birthday wish. And I'm thinking, wow. So I go back and I said, you know what? To the other Larry, I said, I'm not interested, thank you. And I went and I read the Riot Act. But guys, just be careful. There is scams all over the place out there. Don't give any of your information. And what's even going to be worse is when you come into this money, it's going to get worse. Because I still believe it's going to take a few years even after, let's say that they go and they give the people all of this money. I still think you're going to have people that's going to go and still try to scam people because they're going to know people's got money. And they're going to come up with some kind of scam that, well, if you just put $5,000 in, we can turn that into $25,000. Now, on the happy note, Ron sent me something today, and I don't have it. I meant to copy it and share it with you. But he sent me something today dealing with XRP. How something was just passed and everything is ready for this to just ignite. Dear Lord, as we come to the end of this week's, not only the night, but this week's shows, thank you for bringing all these tremendous, loving, caring family people to the show. I can only hope, Lord, that I didn't disappoint them. I'm sure some I did, but I'm sure a lot of them appreciate what I did. But Lord, just look after all of us and all of the children, 100% of the children. Lord, put us in a shape that we can help all the children, all the animals, and all the people in the world. And we can turn your world in to what you said, eternal happiness forever for all of us. As we come to you through our Savior, your Son, Jesus Christ, and pray to you tonight. Amen and amen. Everyone have a great weekend. Let's hope we have another call. Let's hope we get some good information. Make sure you keep checking your email and keep your email clean. If you don't, make sure you check your spam. Make sure you check your junk. Because you never know what you might have in the trunk of your junk. Good night, everyone. God bless. We love you all.